I don't know what your question is. Okay, so you don't think the tax bills will be going out before next Tuesday?
Correct.
So when will they be due?
However far away they were from when they were supposed to go out, that's how much time you'll have extra to pay them.
Well, I thought maybe you had a calendar there.
No, sorry.
I think Alfred around the 25th of August.
Okay.
Something around there.
Something around the 25th of August?
Depending on what.
There will be-
exactly
Poor
when-
taxpayers here in
Depending on when they
Bergenfield,
get them out.
since we're getting another tax increase. I have applied for some documents from the town, and I just picked them up tonight. So LC, is that an employee, or does that stand for legal counsel?
Yeah, I don't know what context it's in.
It's written, LC, courtesy hearing, informal, John Scagliotti, PAL, lawyers. When was this meeting?
I don't know anything about it.
Well, it's on the borough document. When was this meeting? Legal counsel? I can't think of an employee with those initials.
Well, it wasn't me.
I was gonna ask for the bill, thank you.
Yeah, no, it wasn't me. I haven't
Luke
attended any
Costello.
meetings with the
Luke Costello.
PAL.
Lou Costello.
Oh, that was Lou. That was
Lou Costello?
Lou
What
He said it was just a
Good for
courtesy
you, John.
hearing, informal, that.
Say thank you.
When we asked him about if he got papers, he said it was just a courtesy hearing, informal, with John Scagliotti, PAL, and lawyers on it. That was his response. So he didn't have any papers.
Okay. My other question is,
That's what I told him.
the application that you sent down to the state with the $4,000 check, I guess? How come it says the garage is 1 story? I rode by it the other day, and it's 2 stories. It does, it says 1
You
story.
wanna see it? I have it.
1 story. So we filed a false document?
Yes.
To the state?
I would have, since the engineer prepared the application, I'd have to
Maybe
discuss
he
it with the
didn't
engineer.
know.
But I'm gonna venture what his answer to you is going to be, and we'll see
A
if I'm
garage
right when I
doesn't
talk to him.
count as a
The
story?
storage does not count as a story, that the
Tell that to the
1-story
fire
part of it
department.
is the garage section, the second part is for
I
storage.
think a homeowner, if they
I'm
have a
just saying what
garage,
it- I'm
I don't
speculating
care,
what the
it's
answer
a
is.
false document.
For fire purposes.
Well, he was supposed to be here tonight. He's always going to be here at the next meeting. My other question, he was supposed to be here at the last meeting too, that's why I came. My other question is, to this day, has anybody asked the community center to open their books? Do they have any additional money?
Not as far as I know.
What happened, oh, where's Mr. Gilman tonight? What happened to the presentation that we were going to get from PAL on their books? We're still waiting.
I don't think anybody promised a
Mr.
presentation.
Gilman did.
Yes,
He
at
most
the meeting.
certainly
You
did.
requested it.
He was working on the presentation.
That's right.
His words,
Was that a
That's right.
presentation on the books or on the project?
on the
Both.
books,
On the books.
all the information.
Who am I supposed to give it to? What's his answer? You said to this council.
Remember?
One at a time, please. mean,
I was just
time is up.
reminding Mr.
She was
Clark,
just
I'm sorry.
reminding me, you know, I get a little forgetful sometimes.
I still believe that was a presentation, if it was a PowerPoint, it was a presentation of where they are, what they're doing. It wasn't on their financials.
Gotta do it
It
over.
was on their financial situation.
We'll do it
And since
over.
he said that, he hasn't been here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No answers again.
I know.
Thank you.
Can I go?
Okay, next.
I just, talking about the Bergenfield site, and I just wanna make sure that I understand this, cause right now I'm not sure if the committee is having a meeting on Monday or not, because I don't know what proposal 1 was and proposal 2, and then there was a new proposal 1, so I'm a little confused, but I'm hoping, Mr. McGarrell, that you can answer this question. When you talk about the 3 acres and that 75% of the use has to be for outdoor recreation, does that cover a certain area? say we wanted to use a section of the existing parking lot that's just a gravel area right now. Is that all included in the Green Acres space because it's an open space right now?
Yes,
Or
yeah, it's because as a matter of fact, right now, the DPW we're in a process of cleaning up part of the dirt gravel road that we had been, we had a nice little cooperative thing with other communities where we store and vegetative waste and things like that.
Okay.
And we were ordered by the DEP, Green Acres, to clean that up and restore it back to woodlands and things like that.
okay.
So whatever.
So it doesn't matter where on that
Yeah.
look, what exactly of that space is covered under Green Acres?
I'd have to actually look at the map, but basically,
I just want to make sure that I have all my information
Yeah,
correct before we start possibly looking at these things, just to make sure.
we'd have to
that-
sit down and show you, I'd have to show you the map.
Right, okay.
It's very difficult for me to explain it, but if you know if you've been there, you know the hockey court.
Right, mhm.
And then as you pass the hockey court, there's the road, and there's a parking lot, and then there's a swim club.
And then
That
there's-
giant area there,
Right.
the DPW uses to store wood chips
Right.
and mills and things like that. That's all Green Acres funded. We're in the process of moving stuff out of there to other
So
locations.
basically, everywhere from the end of the paved road that just was repaved, everything up to the baseball field?
Pretty
is
much, yeah.
Considered.
And include up to the brook line and all around.
But that's not the same regulations for PAL, even though
No,
that's Green Acres?
because the Vivian Field
It's
is
funded.
funded. We took money to do that, where the PAL is unfunded. It's Green Acres property, but we
Okay.
never took any money.
Okay.
Vivian Field is actually the only Green Acres property in the borough
That's in
that we
Philadelphia.
ever got money for,
Okay.
so it's a different set of rules.
I just
for
want to
that.
make sure that I understood it all. And my other thing is, just when we're talking
Your
about.
time is
Yeah, but I took
up.
most
Oh
of
my
the
gosh.
time.
It was.
Yeah, but I took most of her time answering
I'm
her
gonna give
questions.
us more time.
Okay,
As
I'm
soon as
sorry.
you answer my question.
Okay.
You accused this mayor and council
Here
of
we go.
stealing $300,000.
No, I certainly did not.
Did you know that the Bergenfield Mayor and Council gave the PAL Community Center $300,000 of your money with no questions asked?
That's
Well,
not
there are
saying
no
you stole it,
guidelines.
that's what
That's true.
happened.
There are no guidelines, you're out of order, Diane. There are no guidelines of how this money is to be spent. That's an absolute lie.
Really? Because when we
The
asked you,
money
you
is in our
said,
bank account.
but excuse me,
Go ahead,
Mayor,
I'm gonna
you
give you
have.
some more time.
Okay, but
And I
can I
expect
address
an
that?
apology.
No,
And
I'm
you're
sorry.
apology.
Excuse me. I'm not a child,
Yeah.
first of all, so I will not be ordered to give an apology. You have said yourself that when we asked about this money that was given to this project, what were the guidelines? What was this? You don't know? No, well, we don't know. They need more time. We don't know. What are they gonna spend this money on? We don't know. They need more
About
time.
details, not guidelines. Details on how we do
You
it.
still right now, sir, don't know how this money is gonna be spent. Isn't that
Sir,
true?
we do.
No, you don't. You just said
We
tonight.
know
I'm
it's-
sorry. Let me address the rest of your council.
Now, wait a minute.
You have four
First of all,
council
you've
members
accused
here.
us of stealing money.
No, I certainly,
You
absolutely,
should not be doing in this
unequivocally
room.
did not accuse you
You
of
wrote
stealing
that in
money.
the paper.
But I did
Use
not
the
say you
word
stole it.
stealing.
I said you gave this money to this project without getting any.
You cannot give money away. The borough can't give money away.
You donate
The
it
money
to
is
us.
still in the treasury.
Okay, but you have earmarked it
The
to go
money
to
was
these people with
authorized by a
no.
resolution, which was passed on 2 readings in front of this assembled
Okay,
body.
well,
So I
if you
think you owe us an
misunderstood,
apology.
no, because I didn't accuse you of stealing, and if you misinterpreted my words, that I apologize for, because maybe things that you say are misinterpreted by me as well, because you told me to my face in March, the night of the planning board meeting, when you were not allowed to sit up on the dais, that you were against this community center building. To my
At
face.
that time I was.
Thank you.
Oh, now you're.
Now you're-
Now you're forward.
Diane, you're out of order.
Okay, however,
Oh, wait.
if I could just
Your
ask my
time is
next.
up.
Are you kidding me? Chaos in Bergenfield.
Are you kidding me?
Chaos in Bergenfield.
You think I've
We
accused
give
you of
5
something
minutes
now?
each. We give 5 minutes each.
You've wasted all my time, sir.
I gave you more time.
You are the most disrespectful elected official I have ever encountered.
Absolutely.
I think you should let her answer the question.
Then answer the next question.
All right, we'll let you ask the question. What's your question?
Can I
She
have,
ask her question?
can I give my, donate my 5 minutes?
Well, no, that's
no,
okay.
we don't.
No,
We're
at
letting
this
her
point, am,
That's what I got up for.
I am really forgetting what my next question was, because it would have been about a 10-second something, but I was interrupted, so, very rudely.
That's
I
par
think
for the
that.
course for them.
Yeah, I know.
I think you were gonna ask me, if you remember, give me a call, I'll try and answer it.
No, it was a question for you, and I know that it was related to just trying to make sure that I have the correct information going forward on what we're trying to do here.
Just call me and you, because it
Oh,
probably
I'm
takes more than
sorry,
5
I'm sorry. It was, we're talking about finding out the cost of the foundation for this project, and I know it would be different depending on what the site is, and the mayor has said it would be the cheapest at the PAL because we have the most information about that site. But I think that without, going out to informal bids and asking friends and things like that, you probably can get this information, because I was able to go online and find out how much a gym floor would cost and various other things, so that when I was assigned to this committee, or I volunteered to be on this committee, I had an idea of what was going on. So I think square footage of concrete and things like that, if you have the specs, is something that we should be able to find out pretty easily. So it wasn't really a question, it was just something I wanted to point out before. And can we get a copy of the estimates that were handed out, or is that,
Privileged information.
I mean, I think it's open records, right? I don't.
The $300,000 allocated last November or December was, based on the information we had at the time, the cost of the foundation, installing the water retention system, and erecting the building. No interior work.
Okay, but what was that based on? Were there estimates given that said that $300,000 would
No, that was,
cover that?
how that money came to be set aside was, it was an initial funding for the Memorial Park Community Center, lease part. When that project appeared to be no longer viable, that money was divided up and reallocated, legally reallocated, and it was just, we're gonna set aside this for, we set aside for Borough Hall improvements, and the rest of the money for the community center / PAL gym.
Right, but it was
And-
never
but-
said, this
but
much for
in-
this
yeah,
much for that.
No,
this
but
much for
it,
that.
not, because when you do the bond ordinances and things like that, you don't break that section down that much, you generalize it. And in the ordinance that you're speaking about, and hopefully I'll be able to clear up this
Well, and I
dynamic
think this
here.
is part of the problem, is that the
Yeah.
questions don't get answered, so
Yeah.
people don't understand, and
In the ordinance, the money is specifically earmarked to certain functions. The ordinance says it is to be used for, and I don't remember
That's fine.
but site prep, foundation work and things like that. So the ordinance is set up to tell everybody what the money can be spent on, but it's not gonna say you can spend $100,000 on a
But at that
foundation,
time,
you
so
can
you
spend.
said you
yeah.
can use the money for this, but at that time, there were never any estimates or any ideas of how much it was actually gonna cost.
No, it was based, loosely based on the preliminary estimates from the Memorial Park. But it wasn't based on,
But that
it was
was
more.
that was several years ago,
Yeah,
right?
it was
That-
more
okay.
based on what the borough's needs for a section of the money was for other purposes. We took what we needed for the, what we believe we'll need for improvements to the third floor.
So this was left over.
And that's what was left over. That's how that money got there.
And how did the council decide that the community center was the best purpose for this excess money? Was there a
That's individual council votes.
Okay, no,
I
that's
can't
fine,
answer.
I'm just wondering if
Yeah.
there was, somebody made a suggestion, oh, how about this, or no, how about this, and then you all voted and said, let's
He's
go
not here
community
tonight.
center. Right.
And basically, what happens is the bond ordinance is drafted by our bond council. It's, given to the governing body. They ask questions and then they vote on it at a public meeting. How they arrive at those votes is a personal decision.
Absolutely, that I understand.
I think we gotta cut
And
this off.
and there was, at that time, there was a public hearing on that.
No,
and
I
then-
understand,
yeah.
that I understand, I do understand.
Sure. No more questions.
Okay, the next speaker, who else?
No, you answered, asked the question, I got the answer, thank you.
Go, it's going around the circle, it's going around the circle. Go.
You're gonna ignore him.
John.
John Smith.
John Smith, 50 Hallberg. Couple questions. Why the delay in sending out the notice to the residents about this hardship application? Mayor, you signed this letter on June 5th, and the letter was sent out July 9th. I'd like to know why the delay, since the letter was signed June 9th, and went out, why so long?
What letter is that?
The letter that you sent to the state asking for hardship, and then you signed it,
Boswell send them?
Because the,
and then Boswell sent the letter out
I can
to the
answer your
residents. Okay, thank you, Rich.
the delay is because the mayor signed a letter for the Boswell Engineering, and then they put that letter together with the rest of their packet. They were in charge of sending the letter out, whether they weren't finished with their submission or whatever. They got the letter from the mayor when they got a chance to get the mayor's signature, but they're the ones who physically send the application down to the state.
All right, I'm not blaming the mayor and council for it, I'm just asking why the delay, that was the question, why the
There was
delay?
work
You
to be
explained
done.
it, thank you, you explained it, thank you. Okay, now,
There were no stupid questions.
let me ask you a question for that remark. You made this a circus tonight, I just want to know one thing, are you Barnum or Bailey tonight? All right, now, since the council was advised back in November and December 2011, and months after that, that this building, this garage, was in the buffer zone, part of the meetings here. I said it, other residents said, you're in the buffer zone. They only had the foundation up, not the entire building. You, the rest of the council, nobody sent anybody out there to check it. Now, did you or anyone on this council, PAL, the community center people, any engineer company that had dealings with the borough, when you sent this letter for the request, did you tell the state or the county that you knew back in November you were in violation? Okay, next question.
Well, let me answer that
Who?
question. I
You didn't
personally
answer it?
did not know.
You didn't know it, I said it to you in
You
November.
tell me a lot of things, John, I don't always believe everything you say, because you get a little wound up.
All right, next
Go ahead,
question,
next
next
question.
question. Who's gonna pay the $4,000 application for this permit?
The Borough of Bergenfield,
Why?
Out of the barn.
because it's a borough responsibility.
Okay.
Just the same way we pay the governor to balance his budget, we give him a million.
The governor has nothing to do with what goes on right here.
We pay our
All
bills,
right?
is what I'm saying.
All right. I'd like to know also in this application, they describe the complex. And I went on Google, I looked at the satellite maps and everything. I'd like to know where the several gravel roads are. In this,
Several gravel roads.
right in the application, it says several gravel roads. I'd like to know where, you know, this is the letter from Boswell. And it says several, it says batting cage, one field house, one concession
You know,
stand,
big gravel.
and several gravel roads.
What do you think those little stones are? That's gravel, John.
Well, to me, a road is a road. A parking lot is a parking lot. Okay? Let me ask you another question.
I think it did mention roads and parking lots. in your list.
It says parking lot, and it says gravel roads and parking areas. That's why my question is, Mayor, where are the gravel roads? If they're saying parking, where are the gravel roads? It's not shown on the maps, it's not on the borough map, it's not on the satellite pictures. There is no gravel roads.
If you walk on the roads, you'll see gravel under your feet.
Listen to me, where's the road or the parking lot? What separates the parking lot and the gravel road? Question B, because they have parking, problems with parking, so then if you could park 3, 4, 5 deep then, because there's no roads. And you're saying there is a road there, I'd like to know where they are.
John, isn't there 2 main parking areas on site?
No. One main parking lot up there.
There's a
Where's
par-
2?
Isn't there a parking area in front of the new garage? And a parking area closer to the...
They made that a parking area, okay? But again, like I said,
The point I'm making, John, they are connected by a road, are they not?
yeah, no, where are they connected, Tom? I'd like to know, Councilman. I'd like to know where the road is. No, these are things. Lee signed it, Boswell signed it, they're all telling the state, these are true and honest figures and facts. Now, I'd like to know where the roads are. There is no roads in that complex. The only road is the one that leads into it, Rivera Way, and they mentioned Rivera Way. Other question is, how come it's called the field house, and then in one sentence, it's called the field house, and then in another sentence, it's called A garage. So which is it? Is it a garage or a field house?
It's a garage, right?
But why are they saying,
The garage
I
is
think they're
mentioned.
talking about different places.
Oh,
I'm not
The
sure,
garage
John,
is
I have it in
mentioned
front of
in
me.
this.
all right, now, the borough owns this property. They lease it to PAL for how much, Mr. Mayor?
I have no idea at the moment.
Does anyone on the council know what the?
We don't, it's free, we don't lease it to them for any amount.
You don't?
There is no, there's actually, there's no formal lease agreement that stipulates the any
Well, don't
charge
we
of any
charge
type.
other people that lease the borough property a fee, i.e. the swim club?
Well,
Well,
John,
Little League.
because those are not the same type of organizations.
All right,
We
well-
charge a which is a private tennis club, $20,000 a year to rent the tennis courts on Pelham Place, and we charge the swim club.
$12,000 an hour.
Yeah, it was just reduced.
Reduced, 12,000.
Yeah, because they charge admission and they, where PAL and Little League, do not, they're public entities that are for the children and things like that. We don't have we don't charge them.
Last question is, you guys just paid bills tonight, and one of the things was for $4,000 to PAL for registration fees, for sponsorship, something like that.
Out of the recreation?
But,
budget?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, $4,000. I'd like to know if the borough is paying this registration fee, why is PAL then charging the youth of Bergenfield a registration fee to play in these sports?
Because what, the money that we give them is as a sponsorship fee.
That's not what it says, Rick.
Registration, it's.
Sponsorship fee for PAL 2012, $4,000, okay? Now, we just paid a sponsorship fee, we pay this twice a year. We pay this sponsorship twice a year for you gals. I'm not picking on PAL, nothing. My question is, why are they charging the youth of Bergenfield a registration fee if we're paying the fee?
I'll defer to the recreation director, and he can answer the question. This way, I don't get it wrong.
Thank you, Rick. The $4,000 is paid once a year, number one. And it's paid to the PAL for specifically the girls' athletic programs. It sponsors the basketball programs, the U-Girls programs, etc. In addition, we give Little League $1,000 to help defray their sponsorship costs also.
These
We do what we
sponsorships
can.
offset the cost of the rest of the registration, correct?
And plus, these are traveling teams, basically, that they're offsetting the costs of, the fees involved in the traveling programs, to enter traveling leagues, so forth. We've been doing it for a number of years.
Do we give money also to junior wrestling?
Junior wrestling, of course, we sponsor the
And
junior wrestling
football?
program. And junior football, yes, we do.
I know what you're saying.
And again, it's $4,000 once a year.
I'll have to get you the bills out to show you.
Yeah, well, please, maybe you should get them out because you're totally wrong, so let's do it right.
My time is not up because you guys used my time up, man. You look at the time I went up there.
You've got extra time because they used your time up.
Okay,
Anyone
Bill.
else?
Okay, Bill.
Mr. Clancy.
Mr. Mayor, or
Yes.
whoever knows it, who actually built that building over
When you talking about the garage?
there? Garage,
From what I understand, the people that built it were volunteers from the PAL. I can't tell you, I don't know the specific names of them.
yeah, no, I just, because, now, because of what they did, the borough's incurring a cost of $4,000, I think members of the governing body should think about having them reimburse them for their fee.
The one thing that money is coming out of the money that was set aside for.
The 261?
That money was taken out of that account.
They could go remediate it, too.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a question.
When you guys voted on this ordinance for the $300,000 to do site work, was there any structure on how much site work there was, or was it just site work?
If I remember correctly, it said garage, site work.
It's foundation work, it's in site work, for the erection of,
Take down the garage, move the
yeah,
garage.
demolition of a garage. It was, I can get you the ordinance itself, I don't, have it off the top of my head, but it was, as I tried to explain to Ms. Flannery, it does not say site work, $3,000, foundation, $30,000. You don't write bond ordinances that way.
I guess my real question is did everybody on the council know that they were gonna cut down all these trees? And there's still 9 more or so up there that are still left, that are destined to get cut down
If-
under this site work.
Well, let me answer your question, and not with a question, but with a statement. If we're gonna build a building, the assumption is that, did anybody ever go to the council and say, we're gonna chop down 9 trees here, right here, here? The answer is no. But when you're voting on that, and you know that you're gonna build a building in an area where there's trees, site work, you have to clear the trees. You're not gonna put the building in the middle of the parking lot. The building can only go in an area that's.
But I,
Said at that time?
See,
No, not us.
right, see, that's part of the,
yeah,
that's part of the problem.
right.
Part of the
But
problem.
wherever it went, because of the setup, and there's the map of the PAL, the only place it could go, a building can go, whether you put it where it is, whether you put it on another side, or you put it somewhere else, the site work had to involve the removal of trees. There's no other way to get a building up without,
With all due respect, what everybody's annoyed about is, it sort of seems like there never was a real plan, and everything was voted on, and at some of the meetings in the last few months, questions were asked, did everybody on the council actually see this site? And the answer at some points was, no, we haven't seen it, we haven't been up there. So it's kind of scary that we're voting for.
Who wasn't up there? Has everybody
No,
up there?
at that point, there was, people said that they weren't up there, and the money was voted for way back in November. So the site work was already done, you've already given a blank check, so to speak, on doing site work, and yet, there's really still no plans. I mean, we're gonna have a committee that's gonna go around and look, and already you predetermined that the best spot for that is PAL, but there's no facts based on that whatsoever, other than a few speculations and saying, well, we have bathrooms up there. But if you look at the plans that they submitted, they were gonna put another 8 or 12 bathrooms in there anyway. I mean, so no matter where you go, you're putting a big chunk of bathrooms. And if you're looking at these plans and you're looking just for the building, is that going to include all the cement work and the pipe work that's gonna have to be done for the bathrooms? I mean, there's still a lot of unanswered questions.
The does not include the bathrooms, in my understanding.
But the picture, man,
Their plans show it.
but it's all the plans that they submitted.
I think we can all talk at once. Should we all try to talk at once?
The plans showed it that were submitted. I mean, I know they were only for demonstration purposes.
No bathrooms in the gym, as far as I know.
No, there was a giant, it was almost another 2,500 square foot of bathrooms that are gonna be put next to the property behind the existing building that will be connected to the gymnasium.
Right. That was something in the future, as far as I know.
Oh, now it's the future.
How could it be, but if it was the future, then it shouldn't have been submitted in the original plans. Am I correct, or?
I don't remember seeing that on any original plan.
Yeah, I have a copy of the drawings as
I don't
well.
I do as well.
Yeah.
When
I
the
mean,
vote
am I
was taken
correct,
back
or-
in December or November, it was more a concept than anything else. We did not see the site plan until February. The site plan did include the addition of bathrooms.
On the back of the other building.
Yes.
It was connected to the buildings.
Yes. But we never approved that plan. We didn't see it until it was published to the public in February.
Right, but still, the plans really aren't permanent plans, it's just sort of concept plans. As far as I know, there are no real plans, they're just concept plans. But my point is you guys,
Well, a
as a,
site plan
as
is
a.
a concept.
Right, as a council, though, you all voted for this money to be put aside to do this work, and nobody really has any idea how much the building's gonna cost, really. I mean, you know.
$2.5 million.
No, and to the point, if I wanted to buy a two-family house, and I didn't have enough money to pay for the house, the bank would not give me a loan. And I say, well, I'm gonna rent it upstairs to somebody. No, the bank does not accept that answer. So you can't say, I'm gonna build a building and everybody will come and pay me. You can't say that. You have to have hard evidence that you are gonna be able to pay for that building. Otherwise, you're gonna give the community center $300,000, they're gonna build a building, it's gonna be empty for 10 years, and then we're gonna be stuck with it. I mean, just things to think about, that's all.
Oh,
Thank you.
you did that with $2.5 million.
Who's next? Oh, before you go, Carol, I want to read something to you. I'm happy to see you showed up tonight.
Here we
I was
go.
afraid my thugs were going to kidnap or kill you.
There we go.
Oh, my. I'm not taking the
You
bait.
have
I'm not
the
taking the
hell of a
bait,
nerve
mister.
to
I'm not
come
taking the
here
bait.
after insulting the police department, another councilman, and myself.
Bring it on, bring it
I think that
on.
is tough. And I
Get
can
it out of
remember
your
years ago, a guy named McCarthy pulled the same crap, waving the empty page and all that about his threats. And one old guy's lawyer said to him,
I get one time, I get 5 minutes. I get 5 minutes.
Oh,
I'm gonna give you 5 minutes.
3 years.
But I think I didn't expect to see you. After that comment that we're gonna, what are we gonna do, kidnap or something?
Read it to us.
Didn't
I
we
think we brought this up
already-
last
Listen, we
week.
brought this up last meeting, let's
I'm
go.
not taking the bait. You're a politician. It's
We're
political.
talking to an individual here, I would hope you would have the common decency to keep quiet while we're talking.
She's here for her public
We're not
comment.
talking, you're venting, I'm
I'm
listening.
gonna give her her public comments.
Take it now.
But, first I wanna know, I just wanna make it known that I think it is absolutely absurd that you have insulted that police department because they're threatening the senior citizens of this community. You threatened Mr. Gilman and I, and if something happened to you, we should be called in for questioning.
You have nothing to worry about, no worries.
What are you?
You're afraid of your brain? Just, come on, just get over it. Just get over it.
Words have meaning, and I think it was ridiculous to make that kind of statement.
I think you owe an apology to the fire department.
To who?
To the fire department, but I'm not going there. I came here tonight to talk on the merits. I don't want to take the bait.
I'd like to see you
You're
made
a
it.
politician.
We have to get new thugs.
I know you wanna throw me off message, but it's not gonna work.
Can we move the
Why don't we
meeting?
move forward?
I'm gonna give you
Mayor,
5 minutes.
let's move on, Mayor. Move the meeting.
Hope the recorder writes that down on the press.
Get out of your system. You feel better now? Okay. Now, I just wanted to show this to people again because, in case they don't remember, that this is kind of what the scope of the project looks like. You can see I've drawn to scale the dwellings that are nearby, the residences, and the size and the distance that the community center gym is going to be at compared to these buildings. And the bathrooms, actually, the new bathrooms, see, they said that the total is going to be 15,000 square feet. Now that includes what's already there, plus the 13,000 square foot of the gym part, and then the other part is going to be in here, right outside my parents' bedroom window. And I just showed, here's an aerial view of the site where the trees have been cut. You can see they were very healthy. Beautiful oaks. There was actually one that was like 100 years old. Gorgeous. It's gone. These trees were cut. I think they left one there. And these were cut as well. And that's where the hazard, flood hazard, was, the violation occurred, which Charlie Bloomerling is a municipal engineer who teaches classes on municipal engineering. He's a Bergenfield resident. He warned us about that and mentioned at one of the meetings in March that there was a violation occurring. Now what I want to show you here is that right now the site is at capacity as it is. For the uses that they're using it for, the fields, you can see almost every available parking space is taken up in this photograph. And what I've also shown is that just recently very recently they had tournaments. And a resident on Deerfield sent me these photographs, which basically shows the parking spilling over now into all the neighboring streets, such as Bogart, Deerfield. I don't know if you guys can see this over there. Bogart and Deerfield and Church. And then if you look at Rivera Way, it kind of demonstrates what I've been talking about in some of the other meetings as far as the safety of pedestrians.
Now you notice there's no real delineated pedestrian walkways on that, on the, you know, the current aerial view. You don't really see any of that. Now this area was just added just recently as part of this whole project. They cut down the trees and they put this parking area there. Now that's bad design. I'm a site engineer, and I've had to design a lot of projects that actually were reviewed by Boswell Engineering, who should know better. They basically, what they're doing here is they can pull out here, but nowadays when you design a parking lot in Bergen County, they don't allow you to line cars up like that because it's a danger for pedestrians. There's no walkway here. As you can see, there's a man walking a dog on the grass over here. There's no sidewalk. There's no ADA accessibility. There's no ADA markings or anything like that on the site plan. Now, site plans should consider safety, pedestrian circulation, parking. They're obviously at capacity now. They can't add any more to this site. I mean, it seems like it should be, you know, okay because it's like a 9-acre site. However, I mean, it's basically nicely manicured fields. I mean, the PAO guys do a good job keeping the grass cut and everything. They look beautiful. But these areas here, it's like a dust bowl. Terrible, terrible design. And no engineer that I know that would review the plan that I'm doing right now would allow any kind of building to be built without also fixing the site. That's a lot of money. It's not just the building you gotta worry about. You gotta worry about pedestrian circulation, you know, and even it just seems like it's very badly designed. And now you've got, and the creek is right here. This creek has been so abused, and that's why we're talking about that, you know, that violation that just occurred. And what bothers me is that on the application, not only did it say it's a one-story garage, it also says that the area is heavily developed. Now, I don't know about you, but there was, well, before they cut the trees down, this area was a park. I mean, it still is a park, but, you know, I just think it seems that they're trying to minimize things on the, allegedly minimize things on the application for hardship, when they were warned months in advance that they were building too close to the creek, and that this building was in violation. Oh, I know one more thing, because the mayor had once said to me, there's no flooding problem. He said that to me. I couldn't believe it, because I thought I had shown...
I have to comment on that. I never said there wasn't a flooding problem up there. I've seen
Eyewitnesses.
pictures of the flooding problem.
Eyewitnesses, they were sitting right next to you.
If you're gonna quote me correctly.
This is why. See, this is the flood map that I had showed at a meeting way long time ago. Now you can see, this whole area floods. This is all downstream. Metzler's Creek starts here in Tenafly, flows right through here. This used to be on the National Wetlands Inventory. It used to be a buffer zone in a way to protect the people downstream from flooding, because it had some sort of a floodplain. But as you can see, in the past 50 years, by actions of the borough or the PAO, whoever, who built these fields here now, there's barely any floodplain at all over here now. And that's where they built the building. Now, if you're going to tell me that it doesn't affect people on Deerfield and Church and everywhere down between here, all through Bergenfield, goes near the golf course, then it goes into Englewood, goes into Teaneck, or Teaneck and Englewood, and then it finally goes into the Hackensack River. Now, it may not seem like this is a big deal, but it might be a small building. It might be, oh, let's just let them do what they want to do there. But anything you do here affects everybody for 4 towns into the Hackensack River. So you got to really consider what you're doing in this park. I would recommend using that money and doing a stream restoration. You know, that's what I would do. Fix the parking lot, make it pervious. floodwaters going to all these people. That's what I would do with that money, and plant some more trees. I think the little kids would like their little park back. And that's all I have to say.
Anyone else?
In the corner.
Diana?
Diana Floyd, 131 Hillside Avenue. Get back to the subject of when the community center was being discussed. I have copies of the closed meeting minutes. And it was discussed twice, vaguely. Next thing we knew, it was a bond issue. So don't tell me you were discussing it. I have the minutes. Carol will verify that I requested them.
What was the date on those, by the way? The date on
They were recent.
it? Would you tell me the date?
No.
Oh, get your own copy. You got a copy of the minutes. I had to pay for mine. So I am telling you, you guys did not discuss it. You just went ahead, and the next thing the public knew, it was a bond issue. Let's give the money away. Thank you.
The bond issue, if I remember, was, issued in,
I know, but you rewrote it, the bond. You
2005.
rewrote it in November.
to take away money, right?
You rewrote it in November.
To take away money.
That's
not to
right.
give them money.
You rewrote it.
We took
You
away
gave the money away.
We never gave any
Mr.
money.
Scagliotti can't wait to get an estimate from somebody in Bergenfield. That makes me very nervous.
Anyone else want to be heard?
You're in.
Can I go yet?
That's right, one time. You go ahead.
Thank you, sir. My name is Nick Lanto. I live in Cliffside Park, and I used to live in Bergenfield many years ago. And I've been involved in environmental concerns as a member of the Ridgefield Environmental Action League in stopping Crown Carting from building a waste management plant in the town there. We were successful in that. And fortunately, the BCUA and the Bergen County tree holders sided with the citizens of Ridgefield in opposing that waste treatment plant. So I would say that we have some reputation for getting things done in Ridgefield anyway. Now, based on what I've heard tonight from Carol and what I've heard from Carol before, first of all, Carol Hornline is a reputable engineer with all kinds of credentials, specializing in wastewater treatment management, I should say treatment management, in terms of sites and flooding and things like that. She has the credentials, she's an expert. What I would recommend to the town council is that you allow her, even though she's not going to charge you any money for it, it would cost you thousands of dollars to hire her, she's willing, free of charge, to give you a report based on her expertise, which you can then have reviewed by your own engineer and other engineers. But I would say that you should take what she has to give you and make it an official document in this record. Because the fact is, if you proceed as you've been doing, as I understand it, this site that you're working on, was it Whitaker Field, where you have this impermeable membrane that you put on top of the land there, that blocks the flow of water into the ground, which increases the volume of water which goes into that creek. And you don't live in an isolated universe. There are 4 cities that are impacted by that overflow of water, which in the future, it's not just the 200 people, it's just not just a few people that live within 200 feet of that location. It's everybody that lives downstream of that location who may not have experienced severe flooding in the past, but might experience it in the future. And now that you've been warned about that, if you go ahead and let this happen, you should talk to your town attorney, but you might find yourselves liable in the future lawsuits for people who are going to have floods. The second,
Before you go on, the
Sure.
impermeable membrane, what is that?
It's the actual surface, what you did to the land. You put a parking lot there, basically, where the trees were.
That's impermeable.
It's an impermeable surface. The water doesn't go into the concrete or into the macadam, whatever you want to call it. Water flows around that. It's impermeable. So what you do is you increase the amount of water when it rains.
I thought you.
The parking lot is a gravel parking lot.
It's not gravel, it's not paved.
The new
It's
one is
asphalt.
The new
He
one is
has, He has the floor, let him talk.
Thank you. And the second thing, it's really too late to repair the damage you've done, but trees, and this is Green Acres site, trees that never should have been cut down, that were in fact cut down, in my opinion, my humble opinion, without the proper procedural steps being taken, and I suspect it might even have been an illegal action, because if it was legal, it was certainly immoral. It was a terrible thing that those trees will never be replaced the way they were. My advice, my humble advice would be, give up on that, on doing this in that particular location. Let it go. Everybody makes mistakes. We're all human. You don't want to have your egos get sucked into throwing good money after bad, opening up the town to liability in the future. It becomes a campaign issue politically. That should be the least of your concerns, but it should be some concern. I think it's a terrible thing. You should listen to what Carol Hornline is saying, and I think you should repair the damage you've done and make that land permeable so that the floods don't happen in the future. The neighboring people in the vicinity don't have flooding in the future, which they're going to blame you on in years to come. I admire the fact that you want to help the PAL, you want to provide a citizen community center, recreation for the kids. Those are all admirable goals, and I hear you speaking tonight in very collegial and intelligent ways. I admire your town manager here. He sounds extremely bright, sharp, on top of everything. You know, you guys are great. But this particular project, in my humble opinion, based on what I know from what Carol has said, is terrible. You gotta let it go, admit you made a mistake, and just let it go. It's ill-conceived, and it can only lead to bad things. I think I've gone over 5 minutes, so I will thank you for your courtesy. Unless you got a question for me.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you.
Anyone else that hasn't spoken? I'm gonna close the
Can I
public
speak for
session.
somebody else?
We need a consent resolutions for the following.